January 3rd, 2012. The Occupy camp was destroyed by city workers who received orders from the mayor. The mayor used a non-existent bylaw to justify the destruction of the Occupy camp, with 3 people still inside the structure.
At 5 o'clock with the assistance of 1 uniformed police officer.
One? I thought there was more than that.
No, there was one uniformed police officer on the property who did nothing, who said nothing, who was only there in the event that something would have happened to one of our staff or to one of the...
The mayor tells us that only 1 member of the Fredericton City Police was present to oversee the demolition of the camp. However, according to CTV journalist Rick Moore, this wasn't the case.
Well, I arrived there and I was setting up, I was going to walk right onto City Hall property, and I was told...
No, wait.
I was told that, as I was walking in that direction, a police cruiser...
Don't win, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't have those fancy camera like CTV.
No,
okay.
A police cruiser came up and approached me and said the media staging area, they said media staging area would be on the, by the courthouse. And
by the courthouse?
By the courthouse. So I think there's a phone booth there, and I said, is that where you mean? And they said, yes, by there. So I said, well, why? I mean, why can't I go onto City Hall property? And they said it was police orders, and so I'd be arrested if I did that. So I stayed there for about 5 minutes, and I went across the street thinking that at least I could film across the street in front of Tony's music box to the Radical Edge.
Yeah.
And another police officer said that wasn't allowed either.
That the demolition of the Occupy camp was done very strategically to keep mainstream media from reporting the demolition. City vehicles parked in a way to block the view from Queen Street, a police cruiser to block the view from the courthouse, and 2 additional police officers preventing the media from doing any practical recording of the destruction. Was this orchestrated by chance or orchestrated by design? Following the annihilation of the Occupy camp, legal action was initiated against Mayor Brad Woodside, the City of Fredericton, and City Engineer Murray Jamer for the removal of the Occupy structure without legal authority by the following litigants: Julian Renault, Dana Hart, and Alex Davenport, who was one of the occupants trapped inside the structure during the teardown. In mid-November of 2013, a settlement of $14,350 was agreed upon by the parties. Included in the settlement, Mayor Brad Woodside had to admit that he did not have the legal authority to have the Occupy structure tore down, and as well, he was to read a public apology to Occupy Fredericton.
Were you wrong about?
That piece of property in Phoenix Square was not included in our bylaws, and I didn't have the right to go in and to remove their property.
Mayor Woodside refused to read the written apology that was included in the settlement. Instead, he made a 1-word apology which sounded more like a script from Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince, whose theme is, "The end justifies the means."
I'm going to make a decision. The buck stops here. I made the decision. In retrospect, I look back. Legally, it was not the right thing to do. I accept that. I apologize. But the bottom line is that mess is no longer there, and that's what really I wanted to accomplish.